Hello and welcome to my EDUC3625 Numeracy and ICT statistical investigation. The core purpose of this investigation was to explore whether Year 7 males or females have a greater length arm span. Prior to conducting this investigation, I predicted that males would have a greater length arm span than females. Throughout this investigation, it's important to note that the arm span has been measured by the students to the nearest centimetre. Therefore, to add fluidity, I have continued to use the metric unit of centimetres. The data that's been utilised for the purpose of this investigation was sourced from the Australian Bureau of Statistics Census at School 2014 questionnaire. To answer the question regarding whether males or females have a greater length arm span, the year level of students, their sex, and their arm span was crucial. Initially, I selected a sample size of 50 Year 7 students, which was inclusive of both males and females. However, I found the data difficult to separate in terms of genders and decided to construct this investigation appropriately and accurately. I needed to separate the data by using 30 males and 30 female Year 7 students. This enabled me to ensure that accurate results and conclusions could be drawn from the data. As I had a broad array of data, which varied between 56 centimetres and 178 centimetres, it was essential that I condensed the categories in which this data fell. My next step from here was to sort the data into a frequency table. I utilised one column for the males and another column for the females. As I had a wide spread of data which varied between 56 and 179 centimetres, I grouped the data into blocks of 9 centimetres. My next step was then to be able to distribute and graph this data. As you can see here, I've utilised a stem and leaf plot for the male data to show the frequency in which the certain classes of values occur. In an attempt to be able to compare the data between the two genders, I constructed a stem and leaf plot for females. As you can see, the stem on the left-hand column, which contains the tens digits, and the leaves on the right-hand column showing the ones digits, starting from 50 in this circumstance. I then realised to be able to form comparisons between this data effectively, they needed to be grouped together on the same chart. I created a back-to-back stem and leaf plot with the males on the left and the females on the right with the stem in the centre. As you can see, the greatest range of data fell between 140 to 178 centimetres. From here, I decided to create another form of comparative graph. This is recognised as a column graph which compares the results of males and females. The graph shows the comparisons between the genders, and it again can be noted that the students with the arm span between 150 and 159 centimetres was the most common amongst both genders. I then created a scatter plot for the male distribution of data. As you can see here, each individual of the 30 participants' data is shown. However, this data isn't overly helpful. Much like the males, the same graph was created for the females. Although this graph isn't overly useful, it does present opportunities for possible outliers. This may be due to the fact that students estimated their measurements, they only measured one arm, or they utilised inches instead of centimetres. I then decided to create pie charts. However, as they work on 100%, I had to create them separately for the males and females, and therefore this graph isn't the most accurate representation between the comparisons of both males and females. From here, I then decided to create dot plots displaying the length of arm span for both females and males. As you can see throughout both of these graphs, it's obvious that most students fell between 150 to 159 centimetres. From here, we were able to come to conclusions utilising the data. I used Microsoft Excel to calculate the mean, median, range and mode for each gender. As you can see from the data here, this is a comparison of both males and females results, with a difference column at the bottom. This helped us come to conclusions and answer my initial question of which sex had the greatest length arm span. From this investigation, conclusions can be drawn. Through the results I utilised from the Australian Bureau of Statistics random sampler, the Year 7 females actually had a greater length arm span than males, proving my prediction to be incorrect. However, as I only used a relatively small sample size of 30 female and 30 male students with a total of 60 participants, generalisations should not be formed from these results. Therefore, if we used an increased sample size, the validity and accuracy of such results could be improved, as these only showcase part of the Australian population.
Created using Powtoon.